In the last lesson, we talked about decision statements, that what kind of decision statements are available in Python and how does their workflow work in a program. In today's lesson, we will practically execute them, that how our decision statements work in a program. Our first decision statement was if statement. To write that statement, we will use the if keyword, and after that in round brackets, we'll write expression, which we will have to execute, and at the end we will add a semicolon. Immediately after adding the semicolon, when we will press enter, we will see that our cursor is blinking after giving a bit of indentation. In Python, the scope of any block is controlled on the basis of indentation, because in Python no type of curly braces is used to define the scope. Here, whatever statement I'll write will be counted in this if block. Now, to check this code, that how our if condition works, I'll write a small code. Variable 1 is less than variable 4 and print it. 4 is greater than variable 1, print. If ends here. Here I'll add another print which will verify that if we are in the if statement or have come outside the if statement, it is outside the if. It checked the condition, variable 1 is less than variable 4. So here it has found our condition correctly. Here it returned true, so the control of our program has come into the if block. It executed all the instructions line by line in the if block and then took the control outside the if block and executed this instruction also. This means that our if statement condition worked correctly. We have gone in the if block. If I change this condition now, what output will be given? It printed only the last line of the code. Why? Because the value of a variable 1 is 15 and value of variable 4 is 21. 15 is not greater than 21. Our condition will be false. Immediately after the condition became false, it did not let our control move towards this block. It directly shifted the control of our program after this to outside the instruction that was outside the if block and executed that instruction. Here this was our if statement. If we want to use else statement here, so for it the else keyword would be used. After it we will always have to write else. If I run it, it has my expected and indented block. It is telling us that it is expecting an indentation at this print. After else we will always have to write print in the next line after giving an indentation or tab. Now I will execute it. So it will execute the else block. It has executed the else block. That when the if block will become wrong, its condition will become false. The else block will always work. With it, the third, if we want to apply more condition with if, that if the checked if is false, check the next if. If that is also false, check the next if. We can add more than one if. If then use another if here, then use another. Instead of using if repeatedly, it is better we will have to implement an else for every if. It is better that we move to the else if statement, which is written as ELIF in Python. This is your else if statement. After else, if its expression will come. Here we'll say that variable 2 is less than variable 3. So what will it print in here? That variable 3 is variable 2. Else if statement ends here. Now it will check which equation of the two will be true. It saw the first condition became wrong, left it and moved to the next instruction, else if. This thing became true, so it executed it. Add an else at the end for it, so what will we write in else? Print. Outside if and else if. If we make a condition false here too, so let's see what it does. It will check that both these conditions are false. It will leave both the blocks and just come to the else statement and will execute the else statement. One thing to keep in mind is that else does not take any type of expressions or any conditions as an argument. Else is written as it is, alone as an instruction. This was how we can use if, else if, and if else instruction in turn. We can use them more than once in a program. More than one if, more than one else if, and similarly we can use else with if. These were decision statements. With it, if we examine these decision statements more, we can use logical operators in them. Logical operators mean that if we want to use and, or, we can use them. In that case, what it will do is variable 1 is greater than variable 4 and variable 2 is greater than variable 3. If even one of the two becomes false, the AND operation will always return false, so this whole block of code will not be executed. We can add combination of expressions to it also. It has shown the last instruction as output.